Hey, why don't you tell the story about you running over one of the most expensive instruments you've ever owned with a fucking bus?
That was Barry's mandolin, and I did back over it.
he ran over a mandolin that cost as much as my house.
Yeah.
What?
Welcome, everybody, to the X5 podcast. We are joined today by a guy that started playing rock and roll when I was born, I think.
Probably before.
No, yeah, definitely before. Rick Carter is one of our special guests today. Everybody, please put your hands together for Rick.
Oh. The man, the myth, the legend.
Living legend.
He is a legend, I'm telling you, in his own right.
Yeah.
But Rolling in the Hay, Telluride. What bands am I
Rick
missing?
Carter?
Rick Carter.
Or just Rick Carter.
And the Elvis tribute thing that you did for a while?
Yeah, y'all
which was
did that.
awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yep, they did it.
Let's hear your Elvis.
I don't, baby.
Just one word.
That's everybody's best Elvis impression.
Well, thanks for having me.
We got Cam Flener in here again. He's almost like a co-host at this point.
Whenever I'm driving by, stop in, see what's going on.
A lot of people drive by this place.
Yeah.
So you're creepy if you're driving
You
by.
got the two black guys sitting next to each other today.
Yeah, there you go.
Now look at this. Look at that.
We got Brian Vaughn in the studio today. Woo!
Whoa, yay. You had 2 weeks to prepare that. Yeah, that's all you came up with was raise the roof.
I went old school on him.
And Cassio's with us today, and we also have our dear.
You just skipped right over me?
Yeah, but no applause for
I was about
Cassio.
to say, entertainment brought to you today by Buzzballs.
Buzzballs.
Delicious.
Are you going to have one?
Oh, yeah, little Choco's going down during this
Damn.
episode.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah.
Oh, Buzzballs is so great. It's like my chalky milk in the morning.
We've got our good friend Justin with us today.
What up, dog? Welcome.
Justin is what now? The new manager of the Velcro Pygmies?
Yeah, I was forced into it by Cam. It's
He
pretty
lost.
cool.
He
Yeah.
lost a bet.
Man,
He's also an Alabama Blues brother. Do not put that down, son.
I'm telling you,
Past memories.
that's where I first met Justin, and I'm telling you, that was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
I appreciate that. I do. It was a lot of fun, and I'm still sore as shit from it.
I'm telling you, their entrance to the show, we did an outdoor festival, and they had an old-time police car chasing them to the stage, and I was like, man, I don't know how you ever top that, man. It's the best shit I've ever seen.
It's not an Elvis tribute, but it was.
Well,
blues
look,
brothers.
the great thing about Justin, not just being a part of the Velcro Pygmy team, but he's a person that's done it all, which is so unusual in our business. Have someone that's been on the stage, done production, done promoting, agent work, man. He's done it all, so he can see everything from every side. What a lot of agents can't. A lot of agents have never driven hundreds of thousands of miles to set up in snow uphill both ways.
Now we refer to him as Suit. Now he's Suit. He's one of the
He's in a
suits
suit
now.
now.
Whatever you want to call it.
And of course, we have Bert and Terry with us.
Bertrude.
No shirt, Bert. Who's got his shirt on?
Squirt is-
together. Well, yeah, the short people sitting next to each other.
It's a shame that Bert does have his shirt on, really, honestly.
He's no shirt, Bert.
like, oh, no.
We're not going to start this, are we?
What's
It's
your
like a Get
non-Harry
Sideways shit.
Terry? What's your
What's that?
nickname? My non-Harry Terry.
Yeah, there you go. It works for me.
He's smooth under that shirt,
Smooth,
ladies.
Yes.
Non-Harry Terry.
He's
to keep
slick
going back
everywhere.
to Casio as he finishes the buzzball to see how he changes.
It's gonna be fun.
Well, this ain't his
It's gonna be
first
fun
one.
reminiscing with Mr. Rick Carter over here. This is gonna be fun.
And Rick, if you decide you want some moonshine, we've got
Killer Bees.
Killer Bees is moonshine that's about all we have left, and he hasn't sent us any.
Yeah, don't
more
worry.
yet.
57 people's drank out of it, but do you get
But it's moonshine.
No worries.
You want to go tomorrow and go, did I give myself that fever blister? What happened to that?
Spinal tap.
Have you caught mouth herpes off a mic before?
I never have, no.
That's crazy.
Have you caught
I feel like he's
That's
lying.
what he's
too.
told his wife.
Come on. Come on. Rick Carter's got better stories than that.
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Okay, first, why are you guys in here? You guys are in here together for a reason. I know you're legends. You're having fun with us. But you guys are here because you have an incredible event coming up.
Well, I'll take it first and hand off to you.
Absolutely.
So I get a phone call from Rick Carter. Now, when my phone says Rick Carter, I mean, it like lights up and goes crazy because it's like getting a phone call from Jesus. Sure. So I get a phone call. So I answer that call. Okay. Now, Chris Edens gets upset that I won't answer his calls. but I'll answer Rick. So Rick's like, Cam, Rick Carter, I got something for you here. And you have to understand that the very first time the Velcro Pygmies ever played in Birmingham, it was because of Rick Carter.
Really?
Yes. Rick Carter told Sally, who owned a club called Louie's, which
hell yeah.
I hope there are people watching that still remember Louie's.
No, they're all dead, but I remember.
One of the greatest rock bars ever. But Rick calls me and he says, Cam, you've got to do Louie's. They don't pay, but you got to do it. Trust me. And Rick Carter's a legend. Telluride, a legendary band. They drove around a semi-truck with a full road crew. I mean, they were the band everybody wanted to be. So I'm like, okay, so we did Louie. So I've always trusted Rick, and he's always taken great care of us. He called me. He's like, Cam, we've got an event that's happening at Oak Mountain State Park on July the 8th. And Telluride wants to open for the Velcro Pygmies.
What?
And I'm like, dude, you are freaking kidding me.
You wouldn't let them do that. Make them play after you.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, he said, we've got this great event. We've done it a couple times. It's a lot of fun. It's a family-friendly show, and we want you to do it. Will you do it? So, I mean, we were that date, I think we were currently scheduled to play, I think in Graceland, and I canceled that show to do this one. Right. But it was a special thing that you called and asked me. So I wanted to do that before we got into you telling everybody what the show's about, because I really appreciate you reaching out and making us that.
Come on, man.
The promoter on this is a fellow by the name of Mike Perrin, and we go back so far. He was a DJ years ago, Casa Tampico.
Oh.
You know, in Birmingham, which had a great nickname, but we won't go into that.
Sorry, I got totally distracted.
Just listening, we've done right. Cam Flener Jordache commercial.
Holy God.
So anyway, this guy's a great promoter, and we've done several shows with him. He's got a real affection for the coasters and the drifters and the swinging medallions. In fact, we did a show with all those acts, and Telluride was the youngest band there.
How many times you get to say that?
Never. Ever. All I hear is, he's a legend, which means he's old as shit. Let's just wait for him to get out of the car. Watch him when he gets out.
Help him out of the car.
Yeah. So he called me and he said, I want to do something really cool. And I thought, man, we ought to kind of resurrect the supper club, the Louie's, you know, and get battery has two sides, plus and a minus, to make it work. So Velcro Pygmies and Telluride, you could not get any two bands this far from the spectrum,
right?
But had the same appeal to such a large demographic audience that continues today. I mean, I've got more shows next year for Telluride than I did this year. So there's it's a combination of melancholy. Everybody likes to remember things, and I thought, man, this would be like the greatest reunion with really cool music. You know, the Pigs and Telluride together. And I told Cam, I said, but we want to open because it's late.
I knew there had to be something.
I want to be done by 8.
This stuff makes sense. Yeah.
And I live on Oak Mountain, truly, I do. And I thought, man, this is killer. I get them to open. I could be home by 8:15.
And you guys wonder why he's a legend.
So anyway, and due to Cam's incredible networking and all of you guys, here I am today, and I must say it's a treat to see so many different fields of our business represented in one place in the middle of nowhere.
Literally.
Yes. I told these two fellas, I said I should have come armed when I pulled
Can't
up.
believe you didn't. That doesn't matter. Charlie's got guest rifles in here.
we-
Yeah.
The only time I've ever been to Cleveland, Alabama is when we did their prom in '81. I looked it up. They were all cousins. So, needless to say, I can't wait to meet my family when I get out of here today. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And Cam and I have talked about it, and we've talked with Mike, and now there's several people involved in this particular part of this program. July 8th at the Oak Mountain State Park, not to be confused with the amphitheater, the state park. And we talked about this, that it's beautiful out there. We did it a couple years ago with all the old acts, and there's a big beach, and there's canoes, and there's kayaks, and there's, I'm going down, help me. There's lifeguards, there's, it's a good scene.
The concert begins at 7 and goes till 10 or whenever, but people can come all day, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you can swim and do what, and so it's not just to show up at 7 o'clock. You get to, if you want to come and enjoy everything else there at the state park, that's available.
Highly recommended. Yes, make a day of it. And I thought that was a good thing on your behalf and part to make it family event as far as letting children in free, things like that. Because you guys, most of the people here, could bring their kids. Mine can bring their grandkids.
Yes.
So, we're talking about covering the bases.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we get the podcast? Why don't we sponsor it?
We'll have to talk to our sugar daddy in there, Charlie Reese.
Charlie.
He's over there photoshopping. Charlie, see what you can do.
Hey, wait a
You
minute.
can do and get back with us.
Wait a minute. Don't ask him. Just do it.
Look, I mean, the fact that you're drinking the Buzzball, maybe you ought to be the one that decides what.
What are tickets right now?
$40 per.
I'll tell you what we'll do, guys. If you guys are cool with it, how about we throw in $5,000? Let's lower tickets to
$25.
Or if you use promo code X5, how about we do buy one get one free?
Buy one, get one. Wow. Oh, you got to use a promo code X5. You get buy one, get one at $25.
What?
Instead of a $40 ticket, $25. And if we get the clearance for this, I don't know, Justin's probably having a heart attack here, but we'll do a BOGO the day this comes out. Use X5 as your promo code, and then what? You get buy one, get one free?
Buy one, get one free, and the $25 ticket.
Woo! So it used to be 40. Now it's 25. And if you use promo code X5 at eventbrite.com.
And you can bring Meemaw and your grandchildren.
Come on now.
Let's go.
Come on.
Guys, I need to make some phone calls real quick. Let's not rush into
Y'all remember
this.
the agent stuff?
There's some paperwork. But thank you, Charlie. We love you wherever you're at.
Whatever the tickets are, for real, how can do they need to get them in advance? Can they get them at the door?
I guess, well, I know Eventbrite. I know
Okay,
we've got
Eventbrite.
Eventbrite set up, which I guess, Justin, you'll have to get that redone, maybe.
Yeah, it's a good thing that this is not live right now because I've got to do some serious talking. This was thrown on me really quickly. No, but we'll fix that. And if Charlie wants to be involved and X5 wants to sponsor this, there's no reason we can't do that. So we'll make it happen. And it's all pre-purchase was what we encouraged through Eventbrite. And there was also a Facebook page set up for that. And you can find it. You search it, Oak Mountain Velcro Pygmies Telluride. It pops right up.
Let's move some damn tickets.
Keep drinking, Cassio. God, let's get these tickets down.
Free hugs by David Lynham.
Wait,
Hug
there's
every
more.
person.
Let me also mention real quick, too, you talked a little bit about it, but it's very important that everyone know this is a family-friendly event.
Yeah.
I mean, so, the pigs are known to do some things in their show.
Y'all
that
doing 3 songs.
might
and
be
you can't talk
questionable.
in between, right?
But I'll tell you this is one of the reasons I literally love working with those guys is because they have this variety thing where they can literally make the show work for whoever's in front of them. So just know that you can bring your grandkids or your kids or whatever, and it'll still be fun. So
Yeah.
Well, whenever Mike called me Mike was at first, he was like, well, Cam, I didn't know how you wanted to do this show because I know, you have a reputation. And thank you, Cassio.
We were all thinking that, yeah.
And I said, well, I want this to be a family-friendly show because transitioning to another topic of conversation, I think it's so important that we get kids involved in live music. And there's no way that that's going to happen if they never get to go to a show. And I get it. I'm a Foo Fighters. Let me back up. I'm not, people are going to hate me for this. I'm not a Foo Fighters music fan. I'm a Foo Fighters performance fan. I love the way Dave Grohl does his shows. They're very unscripted, and it's just who's in front of him. He does a lot of great things. But I just saw they were just at the amphitheater, and everybody was posting videos, and Dave Grohl was the size of an ant. Mm-hmm. And okay, you're going to that experience, but until kids can be in the front row seeing things happen and really get excited about it, it doesn't click. You might as well be watching it at home. And so we need events like this where people can bring the kids out and stand in front of bands and see live music being presented in an aggressive, exciting fashion, because that's what's going to make our industry survive. Mm-hmm. And yes. I would assume that you would agree with that,
Absolutely.
Rick Carter.
Absolutely. And I think, kids, it's the phone. So to take them, to be able to give them an opportunity to experience anything, especially musical performance. You guys have a great show. We're still looking at our boots, but they can, the thing they can see about us. No matter how old we get, we can still do this.
Yes,
see?
Inspiring.
Yeah, so we're but yeah, I think it's a great point is to be able to experience and to show the performing arts to anyone, especially kids, because if the kids don't get it, then it dies.
I tell my son that. Learning an instrument, you'll always have something to fall back on. You'll always be able to go make a couple $100 and feed yourself, no matter what happens in life. If you want to be an astrophysicist, whatever you want to be, and shit falls apart, you can always go run to a club and make money doing this. It's a good cushion to have in your life.
Look at this example. Dave Lynham.
Exactly.
Cam Flener. We both suck, and this is what we do. All right. You want to be inspired? If those idiots can do it, I can do it. Without a doubt. I mean, everybody else in this room is incredibly talented.
Yeah. People used to ask me back when I was doing the Blues Brother thing, and they're like, so what do you do for a living? I was like, I'm a musician. So they just say, well, basically you're saying you're broke. And I'm like, that's pretty much it. But I have a good time doing it,
Rick, we were just talking before the show. You had a great story about Rick was asking me what I'm doing now. Are you still in radio, comedy? I said, yes, I'm trying not to get a real job. And he said, well, join the club, brother. But you had a great story about you and your brother.
No, what the story wasn't about. Let me think.
About your dad. Talking about you and your brother had different jobs.
My dad was very full of great advice. I said, Dad, I'm going to be a professional musician. He said, that's great. One thing you'll never have to worry about. And I said, what's that? He said, money. Because you'll never have it. And my mother was a piano teacher, and I was going. But now, and bless his heart and his soul, he drove me to every gig. He would put the stuff, and I just wrote a story about this, and I'll tell you, this is a great story. In 1969, I was living in the Philippines on an Air Force base, and we had a band called the Great Wind Controversy, 1969. Fortunately, nobody could remember that, so they started calling us the GWCs.
Much more memorable.
Much more memorable. But there, we only played the best in counterfeit Fender amps and guitars that we bought at the music store off base. So we had those, and you only get your clothes made there, because if you order something from Sears, your 2-year tour would be done by the time the shit got there. So they made our suits and everything, and my point of this story is my old man with about a 6-pack of Schlitz drove us to the best gig we ever had. We played on the Filipino version of American Bandstand called the Nine Teeners. And I found, the reason this story has come to me now is I found the theme song on YouTube. Get around, Nine Teeners, up and down. So we went to that show, the band, my old man, and we had to take our maid because you can't pay underage American dependents on a Filipino television show. So we took the maid with us.
They had to pay the maid?
They paid the maid, and my old man's going, y'all sounded great. He was drunk as hell. So he drove us to this great gig, you know, and nobody spoke English. And I'll never forget that the Filipinos host was named Ricky. There's nobody named Ricky in the Philippines. It's Romy or Boy or Manuel, but no Rickies. But he was the host. And so when we got home, I said, Dad, I'm just going to do this forever. And this is what he said. He said, son, currency comes in many forms. He said, money is the dirtiest of them all. If you make people happy, you'll always be a rich man.
How about that?
And I've lived with that philosophy my whole life. Even with the 6-pack of Schlitz, it made, you know, with the skeleton key opener. But my story about my brother, my dad would say, people say, "What? Now you have 2 sons, what do they do?" My brother's a graphic artist. And my dad would say, I got one boy plays music, one boy colors.
Colors?
Yeah. So anyway, that's the story of my dad.
One plays music and one colors.
Yeah.
You know, I remember that.
We got Cam playing the Last Supper.
I remember that. It was that was actually at the Last Supper Club. That took place. The Last Supper Club there.
I see what you did.
Yeah. So I want to tell you a story that you told me about your dad.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That I thought was really cool. There's a place, and some of you guys watching this will remember, some of you guys in this room will remember, it's called the Supper Club. Mm-hmm. And we spent a lot of time there, and you spent a lot of time there. And John Brandt is a saint, Saint John Brandt.
Yes. Shout out John Brandt. We know you're watching.
And he will be at the show on the 8th. John's going to be there, kind of a honored guest. But Rick was there with Rolling in the Hay at this time. And I walked over there and was sitting there, and you guys had your tour bus at that time. And I remember you telling me that one of your biggest thrills was having your dad get on the tour bus, and you were able to say, say, Dad, I've made it.
You know what he said? You know what he said?
Tell me.
What took so damn long? That's exactly what he said. I went.
But I tell that story a lot.
Well,
I remember you telling me.
I think goals like that all of us have had success in this business. Mm-hmm. All of us sitting in this room. There's so many people, so many kids. You guys see them because you're more in the trenches than I am, that will never even see the success that we've achieved. And a lot of that is because not of lack of talent, but of lack of fortitude and tenacity.
Yes.
And, none of us would be sitting here if we didn't drive here because we wanted to be here, because it's an opportunity for us to continue to do what we do. And in Cassio's words, not to have to get a real job. And, in a comic way, that's, of course, we didn't want a real job, so that's why we do what we do. But this is the hardest job, one of the hardest jobs you could have. Yeah. Because every morning, musicians, entertainers wake up unemployed. Every single day. Because every day you're looking for the next opportunity. If you work a 9 to 5 and you've been there 25 years and you're going for 40, you're employed. You know what you're going to do. You do it every time. Yeah. Every day we wake up and look for an opportunity and look for another job. And that's part of the game, and that's part of the exciting part of it to all of us, or else we wouldn't do it. Because if you weren't excited about the game of doing it and what it takes to do that, you wouldn't do it. Therefore, you're not successful. And so when bands and kids go, you guys just get all the breaks. And I always tell them, create your own opportunity. And like July 8th, that's an opportunity that we can show what we've worked for and the things that we do, why we do it, how we do it, experience this with us. That's always been a Telluride philosophy. And I just saw Dave Lynam's band down at the Floribama. It's all of our, and you can call it old, you can call it anything, but Casio does it. We all do it. We entertain people.
That's right.
You know, that's part of what we do, is the want and need for us personally to entertain people. We're doing it right now.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
But you had to have somebody to create this situation because they wanted to do it and they did it. And that's the two words that are most important besides these two words: music, business. You can be a great musician, but if you suck at the business part, you're never going to be good at music business.
That's right.
Vice versa. So understanding that concept and doing that and working at it all the time. I'm going to be 70 years old. I've done this since 1967 because my first job I got paid $7. My allowance was 50 cents a week. I just got paid $7 to play at the opening of a TV repair store. I thought, well, shit, 50 cents a week, all week, $7 one time. So 1967, that was it. I said, I'm doing this till I die. And so far, so good. You know,
David's making $7.
Yes, David's doing.
I'm up to 17, but
my favorite thing you do is posting your old calendars from back in the day.
Yeah.
Where you can see the money he used to play for.
Yeah.
And, buddy, it was 8 shows a week. I mean, dude, he would double
But
dip.
it's the same thing that we still do. See, that's a philosophy that the three of us, I'm not as familiar with you gentlemen over here, but I know that in the rock and roll business, that we will, if somebody calls us and goes, hey, can you do 2 to 4 in Tuscaloosa? And you're going, I got Auburn at 9. Yep, we can do it. Right. But the roadies would call me up and go, dude, I just got the itinerary. How are we going to do 3 states in one day? I said, we're on a bus.
Yeah.
And we did that one time. We did a festival in Columbus, Georgia. We did one in Birmingham, and we closed it out at Nashville.
Hey, why don't you tell the
24
story
hours.
about you running over one of the most expensive instruments you've ever owned with a fucking bus?
That was Barry's mandolin, and I did back over it.
he ran over a mandolin that cost as much as my house.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, thank God it was insured. Wasn't
It was insured.
When was this? When did that happen?
Why was a
rolling in the hay.
mandolin in the pathway of the bus?
Dude, you know how that shit
Rick
happens.
was swerving.
Why you of all people ask?
It was there. What was
I
that?
remember hearing about that.
Oh,
I hope that was a baby.
bus. Here's a bus story. Hello, you're where? You're at the truck stop. We just left the truck
We've
stop.
done that. I've done that before. You left them on
Yeah.
accident. Didn't do a head count.
We're in Birmingham. What truck stop? Oh, the one up on the corner by Huntsville. Yeah. Can you get a ride?
Good luck. You know, you want to be like, you should be more memorable.
Yeah.
We didn't pick up that you're gone.
But that was the bass player, and we left him at a truck stop. I did. And so he said, there's a trucker here. He says he's coming to Birmingham. I said, well, I'll pull over and wait for you. Anyway.
That's the great thing about rolling
He
in
gets
hay.
to ride with a trucker?
Yeah, if you got 3 people, it's hard to leave people when you got 3 in the band.
Yeah, we're rolling in the hay. Didn't have any production, like no lights and stuff like that. They would just they could throw and go. They would go 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop. Y'all, how many y'all done 3 shows in 3 different states?
3 shows, 3 states. But see, when we stopped touring with Telluride, we were in a semi truck. We had 5 roadies. It was huge production cost. And I said, man, I just want to get a band with a van and a PA on a stick.
That's what you did.
So that's what we did. And everybody went, what kind of music is that? And I said, well, it's kind of bluegrass rock. We take rock and roll songs, we turn them into bluegrass. And they were like,
these sons of bitches were making more than us playing.
the next thing I know, well, we're going to have to get roadies. Well, we're going to get a bus. And the next thing I know,
You're in a bus.
but nowadays, you don't have to put, I think y'all still carry production. You guys probably still do. But nowadays, most clubs have production. And it may, I mean, you may send them one line and give the guy the gas, but
Right.
they still have a PA and lights. That's when Rolling the Hay, when I started figuring out that all these places had PAs in production, I went, just get the roadies to throw the merch first. Throw the merch in.
Get
That's
it
where
in
the
there
money
for
is.
sure.
Throw the merch in. Throw the back line and the guitars and stuff, and we won't care. We won't have a PA, but we carried a small one. But yeah, we were making big money. Big money.
Yeah. They were, and we were having to lug around all the fucking production, and they were just scooting in, playing their little banjos, getting the fuck out. Like, these son of a bitches got it figured out.
When I sat on the bus that first time, and you were telling me about your dad, why did it take so long? You said our merchandise is paying for this bus.
Man,
and
Hay,
you still see
just
hay
hay.
everywhere.
If my
You see
grass is blue.
stickers
But think about this. Everybody wants to be part of the private club. It just depends on which club. They don't want to be part of the club. Some people do. We don't, but some people do. So instead of rolling in the hay, I thought, why don't we, the kids called us Hay, Hayes in Town. So just put a sticker that says hay on it. And it was back when those oval stickers weren't big, but they were. I knew they were going to be big because first one I saw, I said WP, widespread panic. And I thought, hey. Yeah. So that became big. But T-shirts to this day, we played a show down in Mobile before this Billy Strings kid.
Oh,
God
incredible.
bless you, Billy Strings. Biggest resurgence of gigs we've had in decades. So because all the kids now go, we love bluegrass. So we did a show before Billy Strings in Mobile, pouring down rain, sold the venue out, pouring down rain. And it's all those kids. Sold $1,200 worth of T-shirts because I picked, therefore I grin on the back of them.
That's great.
Got mushrooms and guitars.
boom.
You've always been the guy in charge of merch? That's great.
Southern
Rick Carter's a
badass
genius.
whiskey drinking bluegrass. You know why? Because I don't want to get a job.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
But see, people, merch is such you got to have somebody to sell it. You got to do this. Well, if you have something that sells itself, you don't have to have somebody that sells it. You just need to have somebody there
to take the money.
Take the money.
Right.
And nowadays it's nothing. But bands get so busy, and merch is a hard thing to do. But I've got, merch for Rick Carter, merch for Telluride, merch for the Selma Boys, merch for the Alabama Troubadours, all the different projects that I have, because merch pays for it all. It really does. I mean, it pays all of your expenses if you get something that people want. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
But Rolling the Hay got grass.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
They're great.
all of those.
It writes itself.
And that's part of it. I mean, the merchandising and like the Velcro Pygmies, and now Get Sideways, and is not Splendid Chaos. That's See, these are brand names. Casio Kid. You've got
Not so much.
but yeah.
Rick Carter said that was a brand
That was
name.
last time in Orange Beach. I remember that.
Speaking of brand names, Buzzball.
Play the hangout.
But that's that's part of it, is being able to build your brand and understanding how important that is. You got to back it up with ability, no doubt about it. I mean, you've got to do that. The big front of a facade of a house is great if there's no furniture in it. It's still just the front of a house. So it's just shit you learn to keep having good.
I want to ask you about something, Rick, that you and I have talked on the Rick Carter and I, we talk a lot on the phone, and we lament about the good old days. I never in a million years, and David Line, you're almost there.
Oh, yeah.
I've never dreamed that I would be a dinosaur and talk about the good old days.
Yeah.
And when you look back, and Louis is gone, the music hall's gone, Supper Club's gone, the Ivory Tusk is gone, La Vila's gone, Spinnaker's gone. All of these places that built our industry are gone. And one of the things that's frustrating to me, and Dave Lanham, I would love for you to comment on this as well, and anybody can, but Rick, whenever Telluride, you guys built this industry. You guys, Baby Blue, Eli, Cheyenne, there was just so many of these big production bands that rolled in and semi trucks, and it was always a competition. Who could have more gear? Who could that? And so that's what, whenever we came up, that's what we were trying to be. We were trying to be Telluride. And I think that you recognized, okay, here's this stupid little band called the Velcro Pygmies that are really working hard. I don't see anybody in the rearview mirror now. I don't see any Velcro Pygmies in the rearview mirror.
I see very few. You know, I see, like I said, we just did a show with them down at the Floribama, and I can see a lot of us in them. But a lot of them in them too, because he's had the experience of it. And I'm just, like I said, no offense intended whatsoever. I don't go out, but I know the name Splendid Chaos. I know that because the brand's been established. But there's nobody in the rear view mirror, because I don't think that the younger generation, and I hate to say that. Well, I can say that.
Get it, bust some asses.
Get out there and crack a whip on some people.
It's time for the kids to hear some hard freaking truths about this business.
Well, they are entitled, and they expect more for putting in less.
They sure should do.
And that could be, you know, and I'm going to use this because it's the freshest thing in my memory, except the fact that you guys you load your own stuff in.
Yes.
You know, okay, so that they'd have no concept of that. But when I'm taking a break, playing the Floribama, and I walk back, and his crew's got the damn rack out with the ears and all the stuff, and they're rewiring stuff like that, that I go instantly flashback to all the times that we repaired cables or fixed the truck or whatever it kind of thing. These nowadays they don't if you tell them this joke, y'all pretty good, you need to get a van and get some t-shirts. They don't even know you're supposed to have a van. What's a van for? I'm just going to ride. We're going to meet together. We're all going to ride separately and meet and play. Well, you don't have the camaraderie. There's so many things. How many times did we stop at the truck stop between the Torch in Auburn or the one between Tuscaloosa and Birmingham? It was like a band meeting.
Yep.
We'd finish playing frat parties, and we'd all stop at that truck stop and go, man, did you see Eli's new shit? Cookie's got a fur coat down to here with boots and a damn thong on. You know, there's none of that.
How awesome was it, like getting an off night and going to the supper club and seeing friends play? I mean,
it was great. I mean, well, the good thing though, supper club always started late.
Yeah,
so it really, you know, it was awesome to go there because there'd be a lot of bands there from the touring and doing the whole circuit, all that.
People that do privates and have time to get over there.
It got over there and it was awesome, and you got to see everybody, and that was the good old days. In a sense,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's just gone. It's just gone. You know, whenever Rick called, the Velcro Pygmies started in Louisville, Kentucky. A lot of people think we're from Alabama. We started in Louisville, Kentucky. Rick calls me, and his pitch is, "Hey man, drive all the way to Birmingham for nothing." For nothing. Drive to Birmingham for nothing.
But I got you in the supper club because of that.
And we didn't hesitate. There wasn't a matter of, well, you think you could get us something? It was like, Rick Carter says, do this. It's going to matter. And we did. Right. Rick Carter also got us in the supper club. It's so funny, Rick. 7 people were at that first show. And I've probably met 300 people that were at that first show. It's amazing how that worked. And it was the same deal.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no money here right now, but you've got to do it. And we went there and we played, and John Brandt filled our schedule up after seeing us that first time because I believe in the Baskin-Robbins concept of rock and roll. You don't buy ice cream you've never tasted before. And so our philosophy was anywhere, anytime, for any amount of money. And our schedule exploded because I believed so much in our product that I knew that if people saw it one time, they would buy it again and they would pay for it.
Well, I think to sum it all up, this is what the problem that you have. In our day, and what we all enjoy, a band is an unbroken circle. It's the same members that show up every time. Now it's, hey, I'm Dave, I'll be your drummer tonight.
Right.
But
that's not a band.
A band is an unbreakable circle. So the camaraderie and the common goal to succeed is shared by the unbreakable circle. we did a show in St. Simon's Island, and I rolling the hay, and I knew we were going to be big. I could feel it because the kids were talking, and we decided to eat at the Huddle House. They didn't have a Waffle House, had a Huddle House. I said, bring your shit in. We're going to play in this Huddle House.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, I said, yeah. I said, bring the bass rig. I'll talk to them. So we go in, and all the kids are there from the show. And I go up and talk to the guy. I said, can we plug this bass rig in? We're going to play. And they're like, hell yeah, honey, why not? So, and we played, and now there's 20,000 people that were at that Huddle House.
Exactly.
You know?
That saw that show.
And the next time we played St. Simon's, you couldn't get near the venue. You know? And it was summertime, and all the kids that live on St. Simon's go to school at Mary Baldwin and WNL and University of Virginia. And so pretty soon, but if I had said that to two guys I didn't know that were in the van that had played the show with me, would they have gotten out? No. Of course not. The guy's crazy. What the hell are you talking about? But my guys went, hell yeah, man, let's do it. And, you know, that's the part that's missing. That right there, the camaraderie that we're sharing right now. This right here, you don't see. You know that. You all know that because you have created it so that it exists and happens because you took the time and Charlie took whatever influence he had to make this happen. And that's,
resources.
And that's why you're able to share that.
Oh, my God.
That's that time you sat and you sat in with us. But anyway, that's my ramble.
Now, it is funny, okay, and I take this as a compliment. We've been around so long that there are people that call us Telluride.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah. They call us Telluride.
You've been around.
We've been around so long.
Telluride.
Yeah.
Which one is you, Rick, in this picture?
The top right above Cam there. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, they're boys.
Yeah, I
My
still,
lipstick looks good.
I still had that same mustache.
Cam was blowing that sax on Stand
Keep it in
Alone,
the
brother.
drawer.
You know, of course, absolutely.
That's back when Cam was in his 50s, I think.
Yeah, it really was. And I still wore shirts
Back in
back
the
then.
80s.
Yeah. That's an original Tommy Hilfiger, if you kids remember that brand.
No.
So let me transition real quick, and let me interview Dave Lynham real quick.
Yeah.
So no, we
this
just shared something
episode's
earlier
about
that
to
I
get
think is really
boring.
important. I think there might be a little glimmer of hope for our history. And last Friday, when we did the X5 event at Mars Music Hall, we were able to bring up an artist that we've been developing through the Reach and Teach organization called, his name is Willie P. And he's a country guy, and we took him in the studio, and he's recording his album right now, and he had two 15-year-old girls perform with him, one on bass and one on drums. And Bella is just a phenomenal drummer. And so I didn't realize this until Dave told me, but you had an opportunity to interact with her.
I did. I took
Fill people in on that.
I took a meeting with her, and I was afraid at first because, believe it or not, I don't know much about drums. To be a drummer, I just
We believe it.
Okay.
It's believable.
I don't have to twist any arms in here.
Yeah, we believe it. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
No gasps.
Well, her father reached out and said, I'd like to take you out to eat and just talk drums with my daughter. And I was like, well, I've got bad news for you. I don't know much about the instrument, but I know a lot about the business, and I could probably help her out that way. And he was like, that's what I mean. I don't care what kind of drums you're playing.
We saw you stick a stick up your nose. We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, we know you're not. I'm an entertainer. I'm not a drummer. But I took a meeting with him, and I laid out a bunch of stuff for her to do. Like, even I was like, you're probably not ready for half of this, but this is the sheet you need to follow. You need to be an entertainer first and foremost.
Talk about the clothes.
You got to dress up on stage, and I mean, depending on what you want to do. I know the cover band business backwards and forwards, and I can tell you everything about it. I mean, you need to have an image. When you walk off stage, people need to be like, that son of a bitch is in the band. There's no doubt about it. Or a drag queen or whatever. They need to notice
Thank you, Dave.
you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, David.
They need to notice you when you get off stage. But I gave her a PDF, and it's just a list of things, like fake representation until you know, the kind of things when you start a band you don't think about. You just think, I'm going to cold call a club, and I'm going to tell them we're great. You should book us. Well, everybody thinks their band's great. And trust me, the guy that books a club has heard that shit 1,000 times over. So get representation or get fake representation. That's what we did in Lynham before we were shit. We would just pretend we're an agent representing the band, and then eventually, it's fake it until you make it. Really.
Yep, that's right.
Yep. But you got to have a game plan, and you can't just this day and age, you can't just stare at your shoelaces and expect the people in the audience to stick around. They're going to stick their back to you. They're going to leave and go get something else. But I just gave her a PDF, and I made a set list, and I did all kinds of things about getting a promo video and just the business side of things that I think so few musicians are educated in. I know a lot of musicians, and a lot of y'all are dumbasses. I mean, there is a lot of dumbasses that
There's
play
a lot
music.
of experienced musicians
that
don't know shit about this business.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I've seen the best bands in the entire world play to the ashtrays in a bar. And I'm telling you, I've seen the shittiest of bands play to pack houses every night.
Thank you, Dave Lynham.
I know. Well,
Thank you, Dave Lynham.
I didn't know if you were going to pick up on that compliment.
compliment.
But it happens every day. I mean, I can tell you badass bands that play in front of nobody, and it's just, you got to have that entertainment factor in this day and age. I mean,
and also, you told her something that Rick just said about the unbroken circle.
Right.
About your bandmates.
Yeah, you got to be able to find 3 people that will paddle. Because even finding 3 people in the band with you that'll paddle the boat in the same direction, you're still going to fight because it's still a marriage. I mean, you're married at the house, and then you go out with a band on the road. You're married to them too. I mean, it's a really volatile situation,
Very.
And it's very hard. Every band fights. The way Cam drinks a glass of water, I'm sure Edens wants to punch the shit out of him.
He does sometimes.
We've all noticed during this podcast. I want to punch his ass.
But that kind of stuff exists, so you have to be a tight-knit circle. You got to have 3 people that just think the way you do and want see the same vision that you do. And if you don't have that, I mean, your foundation's only as strong as your weakest link.
How about your feelings? How important are your feelings? They don't mean shit.
No, they don't.
And there's so many snowflakes out there now. And I mean, when Dave Lynham started losing his hair,
I'm not losing my fucking hair.
And everybody was commenting about it.
No, I didn't. He starts touching his hair.
We got him. He's fixing
No,
it.
but you know what I'm saying. It's
Here comes a bald fucking gif on the fucking screen. I'm sure it's coming.
bandmates are jackals, and you gotta have a tough skin. Am I right,
Oh,
Rick Carter?
absolutely. Yeah.
You can't be a crybaby on the road.
Yeah, and you're going to play to empty rooms more. I mean, even to this day, I'm 47, and I guarantee you, I know it looks like in pictures that we play to packed houses every night, but I've played enough empty rooms way more than I played to packed houses. Like, you can tell a musician like Rick that's been on stage, he's played to the bar staff so many times, he can't even
But here's once you go, okay, what can I do to make, there's nobody here.
Right.
The fair's in town.
Right.
Whatever
There's a tobacco spitting contest
whatever
across
the
the
reason
street.
is. Then if you go, okay, well, I'm going to play this a little different tonight to see how that works. There's always something constructive. You guys know that you can do. You're there anyway. So play like you're as good or better than you've ever played, because that's where you learn. You have the time to go, okay, I'm going to do something a little different this time, or, he's saying that. I like that was kind of cool. So next time when you get in front of the show, then you've got some new stuff, even if it's the same songs.
Yeah.
You've got a new approach to it because you played to the waitresses that loved you, or whatever it is.
Hey, Rick,
you have to construct.
I'm going to jump in and interrupt you for 2
Yeah.
seconds, because what you just said happened to me. It's a true story. It's back 2007 or 8. We played this club. There were literally maybe 7 people in the audience. That's it. Mm-hmm. It was just a bad night. We were passing through, Blues Brother Tribute and Club. It didn't really work that well anyway. Well, we found out the hard way. But there was one person there that saw us, and he was just in town on a business trip. He worked for the MWR, I think they call
you
it.
never know who's in the room is what you...
Yeah, so what I'm getting at, play, because that bartender, that person booked us on a 10-day tour in Japan.
Oh, wow.
That room was
That's
7
pretty-
people.
That's cool.
I always say, tell people, man, let them know you've got to give it your all no matter what, right? So
but
give it.
that is how you do it. That's how you do it. But if I look back at my career, 50 years of doing this, I could count on one hand how many people left that still do it. Because lack of tenacity, the family got in the way, all of the commitments that you have to make to do this, which is all of the commitments. You can't split it up and say, well, I'm just going to play on weekends. Well, then you go on and do that. This is what I'm going to do forever. Then all the other things fall aside. But if you hadn't played that gig with nobody there and ended up going on a 10-day tour of Japan, you wouldn't have done it because my family got in the way. And my point is that this kind of thing is different than welding. I'm using that. I'm not, maybe all of y'all are great welders. I don't know. But
welders of hearts.
But it's all the time. You know, we're always unemployed. We're always looking for something. We're looking for that opportunity you got when there was nobody there. But those kind of things come up. We're playing Louis one time, and I know the guy coming in. I go, that's Nicky Hopkins, the best. If you Google this guy's name is Nicky Hopkins. He played on everything in the entire world.
Pull it up, Dustin.
Yeah, Nicky Hopkins. The Rolling Stones. He played the piano on You Are So Beautiful, Joe Cocker. He played the piano on Imagine by John Lennon. He played, that's him right there. So we're playing, and Louis, and this guy walks in, and I know him because I was a big heads, hands, and feet and all. Nicky Hopkins, Tin Man was a dreamer. I'm like, that's Jeff Beck's get Rolling Stone mixture. And they're all going, who's that? You know, we're from Selma. We don't know.
Yeah.
I said, well, trust your leader.
Yeah.
I know. So this guy, Nicky Hopkins, case in point, he gets up at Louis and we're talking. He gets up and plays piano and a very thick English accent, which I won't even try to attempt to talk like that. But he said, do you want to go to the Cayman Islands? And we're like, how many times you hear that in a bar?
Yeah, no shit.
I got an uncle who works for MCA. He's the janitor, but he worked anyway. So I said, oh, absolutely, we'd love to go to the Cayman Islands. 2 weeks later, this is before cell phones. This is Louis 1985. My mother gets a package from that guy right there, a FedEx package, and I said, open it up. There's plane tickets to the Cayman Islands.
Wow.
For the band, the road crew, and we went down and played the Cayman Islands. And in the lounge, we're playing on the big stage with Roseanne Cash and Waddy Wachtel and Nicky Hopkins.
Wow.
In the lounge, the roadie said, you got to go see this duo in the lounge. It's two hot chicks. I said, really? What's their names? And the roadie goes, the Judges. I said, the Judges?
Met the Judds.
Yeah. They're playing the lounge.
Wow.
We're playing on the big stage from playing that one night at Louis when that guy walked in. But if you didn't have a band and a van and the commitment and all the things that it takes to do that, those opportunities are never going to come around. Right. You know, you can do, and you know the bars I'm talking about in Birmingham. You can do, let's use one that's now no longer in business as an example, Superior Grill.
Right.
Using that as an example, if you dumb it down and you lower the gene pool so low that it's under a baby pool by playing for $75 or $100, then you're killing our industry.
Dude,
Please
preach.
This is it. You know, I just like to play. Well, then sit on your damn couch and play. Don't
That's
come
right.
out here and dirty up what we're trying to do.
Please.
And see, that is part of what we are not going to do that. We're not going to do that because we have excelled at what we do. We're at a different level than that. We don't have to do that. And if we did have to do that, we wouldn't be doing this.
That's right.
So we don't have to do that. We can poke fun. We can say, stop doing that. You don't understand. It's like I told a club owner, he said, I'm just not going to do cover anymore. I said, but see, if you do that.
You set a precedent.
I said, look, I got two steaks. They're identical. One of them's free. One of them is $20. Which steak do you think is better?
$20.
So if you have no cover, then your musicians don't matter. They're not even worth 25 cents. They're not even worth a penny.
Yeah.
That's how you think. And if you think that of your musicians, don't you think every pedestrian that walks in off the street thinks that these guys are so bad they don't even deserve
Rick,
it?
will you start coaching musicians?
But
seriously,
I was about to.
will you start a class at Jeff State or UAB or something?
This is what we need. We need people that have been there, done that, telling people how
Like
to
literally
do it.
in a boardroom. Musicians,
Yes.
come here,
Come
sit
in,
down.
sit down.
But
and
is that
learn.
not the truth?
It's
Learn the
absolutely the truth. It's to hear you say it. It's just like shit that bounces around in my head for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Like to hear you say it just sounds so good to me. I'm like, listen, you sons of bitches. Listen to him when he's talking.
It's the hard truth.
We are so fragmented as an industry. Because we don't cross paths as much anymore like we used to, because when you would be on Auburn's campus, there'd be 35 bands playing and we could all communicate and talk. And now we're so fragmented that David is right. We need an opportunity to get the dinosaurs.
That's why I took
in
that
the
meeting
front
with
and
that
say,
girl.
y'all get in here and let us put this collective back together so that everybody is rowing in the same direction.
Well, I my hat's off to David and all the people, Charlie and all the people involved in this particular scenario right here, right now. This is such a great conglomerate of so many different talented people with an opportunity to do these kind of things. And the avenues that you guys have as a result of this is why you do it. And that's why he's done it. That's why we're here. And you don't, like you said, we don't have this kind of, we don't have this brotherhood, as you would say.
We don't, and we need it.
Or you don't have a platform or able to do this, because listen to people that have been there.
Right.
Listen to those people, because they've been there. And my education and knowledge is useless if you can't share it.
I think we need to go back to the July 8th show that we're talking about.
Yes.
So now we're going to create another ticket link to have consulting
Yeah.
for musicians
Come early.
from you two guys. So
Come sit down.
The
and
after
talk.
party is a 101 class with Rick Carter. He thought he was getting to bed by 10 o'clock. Looks like it's not going to happen.
But we need that. We need the mentorship. We need people that are passing that torch like you guys passed it to us.
Yeah.
And not that you stopped, but you recognized, okay, the only way that our industry survives is for there to be new young blood. And you recognized it. Okay, here's this stupid band from Louisville, Kentucky. I recognize that there's somebody that will come in and help carry this torch. And I'm not seeing that in the rearview mirror now. There may be individuals like Bella or Will, but I'm not seeing bands that
Like
are out
four
there.
guys, like, talk to us.
Yeah.
We don't know how to navigate these
There
waters.
used to be a time, and Dave Lynham was one of these guys.
I did. I would reach out
Would
to
hang
him.
out. We would be playing a club, and you'd look out and you'd see all of these. And I was one of these people that would go see bands and hang out at the club, and I was that guy. Hey, how'd you get that kick drum sound? Hey, what's this PA? I was that guy. And those guys don't exist anymore. They're not just hanging out. And it pisses me off.
That goes back to the entitlement of this generation.
Thank you, Terry.
And they pull up on their phones and they see the Instagram, what are their social media, and they see somebody, shredding or playing drums, whatever, in their own little room with their cool lighting. But that's what I think that kids these days say, okay, cool, well, if I get X amount of hits on my social media, I've made it. No, To experience the whole thing, you need to get out there and, like you said, pass on the torch and all that stuff. They have to experience the show like you guys are getting ready to do, because there's an emotion that comes with a live band.
Yes.
That pushes you. The sound, the feeling,
right,
the visual. It's not on this.
You're right.
And it's not, I got 1 million hits or whatever, blah blah blah, or 1,000, whatever. It's the actual, it's almost like a religious experience to see a live band.
Yep.
So when these young kids who are entitled, and not all of them are entitled, but they see, I made it because it's on social media, blah blah blah. They got to get out of their head of that. They got to work for it. They got to see. They got to have the torch. They got to light it.
Chase,
Chase
was that kid. Remember Chase coming to your shows?
Yeah, Chase, your guitar player,
Yeah,
used
he
to follow
had that-
Splendid Chaos, and I used to sit with him and shred and do all this. But, he's an amazing guitar player, but there's more to it than just playing that guitar and learning all your skills and doing all this, you got to have the image, you got to have the attitude, the
You got to know how to do a sound check appropriately.
Yes.
Without going, quit playing the damn drums. It's my turn.
Look at Loudon.
Oh God, the snare drum sounds fine.
Oh my God.
We.
They do this shit in real time. Is that not crazy?
Look at Ed's face.
This is permaface.
Look, man, I don't know if you listen to this on Apple or if you watch or listen to this on.
You got to watch it.
You got to watch
It's
it on
gotta be
YouTube.
watched.
You miss
The
so
visuals.
much of this.
Yeah.
shit.
Terry, what you're saying is
Yeah.
absolutely right.
It is.
And you know what?
Absolutely.
Chase, that mattered to him. That's what changed him. Dealing with people like you that he respected. I mean, my God, he was at the dock at
When he was-
freaking
yeah.
12 years old. You know, bands getting him up and getting to experience that kind of thing. And Chase is one of the most dedicated. Dave, you'll back me up on this, and so will you, Rick, and so will you, Terry. There are musicians and there are band guys, and they're not always the same.
You're right.
And sometimes you find a musician that is a band guy. And a lot of times you find musicians that aren't band guys, and you can't deal with those people. Right. You got to be a band guy. And Chase is one of those rare exceptions where he's a musician.
Here's
and a band
what.
guy.
Yeah.
Here's what. This is exactly what ruined Vulgar Bulge. Is
Charlie
musicians.
Ray singing.
Musicians started showing up instead of band
Okay.
guys.
Yep, you're right.
And it got turned over to the musicians, bringing in their own guitars, staying up there for 5 songs. That's not what that thing
Not
was.
at all.
And I don't know.
I remember.
You remember
as
the
Iron
Vulgar
City,
Bulge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Iron
Horse.
Iron
Yeah.
Horse,
yeah.
It went away because musicians started showing up, and it wasn't band guys. And the people in the crowd didn't even want to see the musicians. They wanted to see the band guys that they went to see. The entertainers get up and do a conglomerate, and it just turned into a fucking audition is what it turned in for other bands to be seen in front of band guys. Musicians to be seen in front of band guys.
Well, you look at too. Proof of that to me is how many times have you went and played your worst fucking show? You're like, oh my God, I screwed up every song, and everybody comes up to you afterwards, talking about how great you did. As long as you had fun with it, that's what they're not.
Yeah.
They don't care about you hitting every single note.
People listen.
But
with
you
their
only
eyes.
get better when you don't listen to their advice.
That's right. Don't believe your press.
Don't believe that part.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, I mean, the days of Cam calling me up going, man, can we come over to your house? We've got this new bass player coming over. Can we come over
That's
to your
where
house?
we tried everybody out.
Oh,
his
worked
house.
him in
At
and
his house.
I don't get those calls. But think about this.
It's good because you'd say no now.
The advantage that is out there now, and the three of us, and y'all too, probably all of us, understand the importance of social media, and we know how to work it. But think about this. In 1977, for us to promote a show, we had to buy a $15 bag of weed, get in the Gremlin. This is all true. Get in the Gremlin, go ride around Southside, and physically put up staple on all the flyers. Took us all day, at least all day. Now it takes this long to reach the entire world.
Right. Yeah.
Done. If I had that knowledge and those opportunities when I was that 20 years old then, about 20 years old now, and know what I know now, it could use that then, huge.
Unstoppable.
But they don't, they don't understand. And I think it breaks down to the fact that their camaraderie, and I always want to be in summer camp until I die.
Right.
And that's where we are. If you're in a band, it's summer camp, or in the entertainment business, not excluding.
That camaraderie, I think, still exists in stand-up comedy.
Absolutely. It's not just, it's entertainment. It's, it's the
Show
can't wait to
business as a
get,
whole, yeah, show
you
business.
can't wait to go out on the road, but you sure can't wait to get back.
Yep.
So all that time in between is where you build the relationships, and you build the ideas, and you build your show, and you repair the equipment, and you call the agent, and you do. That's when you work the hardest, right? In between there, because everybody has input. Those days don't exist. except for bands that or entertainers or people that care enough to make them exist as we sit here in this place. And I'm starting to become redundant, but it's a lot of want, care, and work.
And this is coming from the guy first band to ever play La Vila. I don't know if y'all remember, people watching or listening remember the club La
Is
Vila.
that a true
You
fact?
better. There better be people that remember La
Is that
Vila.
a true
We're the
fact?
first band that ever
Telluride was
played.
the first band?
First band that ever played the big room at the supper club. The day they finished, they didn't even have power.
They served supper
Wow.
back
we
when didn't they?
They served supper.
They actually literally served
well,
spaghetti.
it
didn't
was
they?
on a campfire out back.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
The wagons would come once a week.
They were the first band to play La Club La Vila.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's incredible.
We did.
Was it called the Supper Club or the Last Supper?
Yeah, that was Cam's.
But you know, those kind of things like that. La Vila and Spinnaker are gone. Kid Rock bought Spinnaker, I heard.
Wow.
Is that right?
That's what I heard.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
What I heard.
But it's demolished. So what did he do? Just buy it to demolish it?
I think
Well,
if the building's still there, it's just
Yeah, La Vila's
From what I
bad shape.
understand, from what I was told from people in the know down there, that the clubs, when this other hurricane came in,
Yeah.
it structurally messed it up so bad that they would not allow them to open it without rebuilding it. So he may have bought it, and maybe he's got plans, which
Yeah.
would be amazing.
Give us a La Vila story.
ooh.
La Vila.
Or a Spinnaker, either one.
Spinnaker, God. You know, we played, they didn't have that stage. You played around a little bitty stage in the back. And Frankie Golden, you remember Frankie Golden, Play One, Drink One?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I remember. I've heard
Best
that.
thing I've ever seen in a club. He had a tip jar, and he just played piano, and he's the guy that came up with, tell me, Hank, why do you drink to get laid?
Oh,
He's the guy that started all that
Wow.
stuff. All right, so he had this is the best thing I've ever seen in any bar. He had a tip jar, and he said, now if you can ring my tip jar, you get all the money that's in there. So everybody would throw their money. He had a fan back here. Yeah.
That's really
so good.
But Spinnaker, you know, we played with America, Stray Cats, Guess Who, Cheap Trick, all these bands. We played with them.
Wow.
At Spinnaker, right by the pool. That's where I asked Brian Setzer, I said, man, that's a cool hat. Can I get one of those? How much are they? He said, I'll be right back. Give me a whole fucking box of them. I'm like, don't have that many friends.
You were there. You were there the night they got raided one night.
Oh, we were playing at Spinnaker when La Vila got raided in the daytime.
Oh, that's why you said it was going to be a huge night.
That right. So
Yeah. I was like, if the doors are shut,
we're about to do a sound check. Roadies have already set up, and I'm walking up, and I look over at La Vila, and there's a stream of damn black SUVs and cars coming in. I'm like, what the hell? They pull right up to Spinnaker, and all these guys jump out. FBI, actually, was the Internal Revenue Service with weapons, and they nailed a notice of closure and padlocked with their own chains and locks and locked that place up. That's when I looked at the roadies and said, tonight we're going to kill it.
that was our competition.
You know, tonight we're going to kill it.
Well, let me ask you this. He was talking about now,
There it
musician
is.
plays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. What memories
Those
that
were the
is.
days,
Yeah,
brother.
man.
Man, wet T-shirt.
Right
guns,
now.
We
Yeah.
need this again.
Yeah.
Believe me.
You know, Terry was saying earlier, a musician now plays on social media, puts an Instagram reel up, gets 1 million views, and goes, well, I made it, guys. And that's not the case. But I want to go back to Telluride. You're making good money. You're having fun. You go, this is a thing I can do for a while. But when was like a moment for you when you're like, boy, we made it as Telluride? Was there you heard it on the radio? Was there a show? What was it?
Several different times. The first time, you know, we had a hit on the radio, Birmingham the Night, which is still, they do play it
for
every
sure.
4th of July when they do so that was a hit on the radio, and that was kind of like, and our first record was produced by Johnny Sandlin, Allman Brothers, and we were, that's who we were, country rock band. And he had produced Ramblin' Man and all this. We thought, man, and we started selling a bunch of records. But the one that really felt like the hard work had paid off is when Miller Beer called us up. and they had a thing called the Miller Rock Network, which doesn't exist anymore. But back then, man, it was if you got on that, they did all your advance press. I mean, you'd show up in posters and newspaper people were calling you. You know, the local brewery knew you were going to be there, so it's giveaway time. I mean, it was just a built-in huge crowd every night because of their efforts,
sure,
which was farmed out to
Listen up, buzzballs. Listen up,
Yeah.
buzzballs. Listen up, buzzballs.
What'd you say?
Yeah, so,
Damn.
you know, that, and there was 12 bands, and the first year that we did it, they flew all the bands to Milwaukee, but I remember we got second place of all the bands in the country for the job that we had done, because we would promote it, you know, really big. It's free beer. You know,
Ian.
I mean, but that was kind of like, all right, man, we, you know, this
Who got first?
pretty good, you know.
Can I jump in on
They're a
another
bunch
Rick
of
Carter
assholes
Look at that.
first.
I'm going to jump on another.
Yeah.
And you may have forgotten this. We were also on the Miller Network.
Strong.
And we were the only band ever from the state of Kentucky on the Miller Network. And we were the last band on the network when they got rid of it.
You closed them down like you do
We
bars.
shut it down.
And you wonder why it doesn't exist anymore.
And the reason why, and what put us over the top of being selected was Rick Carter's endorsement. Because he'd been there, done that. Yeah. And because I mean, it was awesome. They had posters and chicks, and it was awesome. I mean, endorsements with Shure and Ludwig. I mean, we had a ton of endorsements. Gibson. I mean, we got a Thunderbird out of the deal. And it was because of you when they reached out and said, hey, what's with this band? And Rick Carter said, you got to do them. And we were selected to be on the network.
With popular bands, I mean, of course. But, you know, here's a side story on that. We were sponsored by Hammer Guitars. So they made these obnoxious guitars that looked like the Miller label.
You didn't want to play them?
And we had to play them at least
one song?
at least one song. So we would do Bad to the Bone with the Miller bottles. So when we stopped touring, all the guys were like, well, you keep all that shit. You're kind of like the archivist. I said, okay. So I still have those hanging in my studio.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the Miller guitar, the guitar players will dig this. So I read the story of the Miller guitar. The guy that was put in charge of making that was like, oh, shit. But he loved Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, incredible.
So he wired these pickups just like Peter Green's pickups in his favorite guitars, Les Paul. He wired those. Now they sell for tons of money, like $5 or $6 grand for this little
crazy.
cheap.
Who would have known?
And he got to meet Peter Green and gave him one of those guitars. So it became a cult favorite.
Yeah, that's really.
for
How
guitar.
many were made, or how many did that?
There's
guy
only
get?
like 150 of them ever made.
Jeez.
Yeah,
And do
of
you
guitar
have one
and
of those?
guitar and bass. I still have the guitar and the bass.
Are you looking-
and on the little?
Are you looking to sell it?
The truss rod cover says T-Ride on it.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
Maybe you could get one day and run over it.
Yeah, we can.
X5 needs one hanging in here.
Yeah.
X5 needs a
I was
collect.
about to say Charlie will buy that.
Charlie will buy that. Charlie would love to have that.
One more story because I want to make sure we plug the show as well. This is incredible because I just want to be selfish and ask about it. Last time I got the privilege,
There it is.
look at that.
That's it. Yeah.
By the way, it looks awesome. By the way, it probably plays like shit, like you said, but as a
I
fan
don't-
looking
I
at
don't-
it, you're like, that looks badass.
Yeah.
I want to ask you because I had the privilege last time I got to see you play. You opened for ZZ Top down in Tuscaloosa,
Right.
and it was a special night. It was their first show after they had a death, and everybody thought they were going to cancel. And then I got to see you, and you open up for them. I would just like to hear your perspective of that night. That is a huge moment in music history. to
Well,
me.
we played Telluride open for them back at the Oak Mountain Amphitheater back in the 90s. And I got a call, and this is before Dusty, the bass player, had passed. About 2 weeks, you know, a lot of times they won't let you know if they need an opener to the last minute. So he called me, Ruffino called me up and said, you want to do this? And he said, but we can't do a band. So Johnny, that plays guitar with me, who's just a monster, we did it as a duo.
Yep.
Think about being entertainers. You walk out in front of any ZZ Top crowd, and it's a duo. So it was like, we can do this. So I said, yeah, we'll do it. So then the bass player dies. Then the gig's off. Then the next day, gig's on. Family's got to eat. Got a new bass player. I'm like, okay, pays the same, right? 30 minutes? Good. Sorry about the bass player. You know, pecking order. Can we eat their buffet? So we pull up to the show, and I see this little ratty roadie dude. You know roadies. They're ratty, and this guy was just pencil thin. He's got just big giant beard. You know, he looks like shit. And I told Johnny, I said, man, that dude's been doing this a while, you know. Mm-hmm. He was the bass player. They come on, and I go, but he was Dusty Hill's bass roadie, bass
Elroy,
tech,
I believe,
for 23 years. Wow, cool. So he knew he knew all the licks.
And is he the permanent replacement? Is he still?
Yeah. He's the guy.
He fits the bill well too.
They call him, what is his name?
Elroy, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Wow. But just it was a surreal moment, like just going. Oh, like you said, they were like, we don't know if we're playing.
Yeah.
We had tickets, and then it was like, they're playing, so let's go. This is a historic night. You know, they've just lost Dusty. And then Rick Carter's open, and I'm like, this is the damn magic. It goes back to what you're saying. Live music, it's going to church. It's a religious experience. Yeah. It is something you cannot match. Everybody in that house that night will go, we saw ZZ Top and Rick Carter. The night after, you know, it was. Yeah. I think it was a night or two. It was really recent, but it was their first show for sure. But thinking, how are they going to pull this off? How are they going to do this? And then it was just a fun night. I mean, I know it was somber for them probably starting and going, this is kind of weird. We're going out on stage. But it was just a night that everyone in that amphitheater will absolutely never forget.
When you said about the stage, I'm going to sum up my whole thought about this. The stage is a sacred place.
Yep.
It should always be treated as a sacred place. Don't get on it. The bass player shouldn't be playing right and everybody walks up and start. Leave it playing. Let there be. It's a show. This is what sums it up. When we got ready to play, the road manager, the smoke's coming up, and he looked at me and said, gentlemen, the stage is yours.
Come on.
And I just gave me chill bumps.
Hell
because
yeah.
that
you saying that just gave me
just that little statement right there. Live to be at that point to where the stage, gentlemen, the stage is yours. And if you treat it like that and you work to that moment, then when it happens, I'm going to take it. I'm ready.
Burn that bitch down.
We went to church today, brother.
This was a religious experience.
Yes. David, Bertrude, that's your new name, by the way.
No, sure.
I've got so many.
BV, who hasn't said anything.
Woo! Soaking it all up over here.
The one thing you cannot bootleg is a live show.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can bootleg a T-shirt. You can bootleg audio. You can bootleg video. You cannot bootleg a live show. That is the future of our business, is what you just said, going there and being in that moment to see ZZ Top and Rick Carter and have that experience, because that can't be bootleg.
Incredible. Yeah,
And
never matched.
It's being there, you know. I go back to what we did on Friday, and we have big plans for Will. Imagine being at Luke Combs' first show.
Yeah.
You know, being that saw that for the first time. And it's just, you can't explain that. You can't bottle it. You have to be there and experience it. And
well, they can experience it. We got it up July 8th, 7 to 10, like you said, all day long. Oak Mountain State Park is open. It's beautiful. May I suggest camping? You can camp the whole weekend,
great.
man.
Go
it's
camping.
Awesome. July 8th, music starting at 7. You've got Telluride, and as many original members as you can get are playing,
There's
right?
4 of the 5 originals from 77. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Nice. That's amazing.
That's incredible.
That is amazing.
Velcro Pygmies then going on stage. Family friendly is the key here. Bring
And
everybody.
I just got word, literally just now, that we're going to put Will on stage again.
Very nice.
So
Yes.
so we're going to have Will on stage again.
So we got a packed house.
Yeah.
Tickets are now $25. Thanks to the man, the myth, the legend, Charlie Reese, and everybody here at the X5 Podcast. Go to eventbrite.com. You're going to get $25 tickets. And if you use the promo code X5, the letter X, the number 5, it's real easy. You're going to get buy one, get one free. All thanks to everyone here at the X5 Podcast. That's how much we appreciate you here at the X5 Podcast, and we appreciate y'all.
And
Rick,
Rick, really,
phenomenal.
thank you for coming in.
I
and
cannot-
spreading your wisdom.
I am so happy that you were here. Rick Carter, you are a voice that our industry needs.
Can we have Rick Carter in here 7 more times? Because
Yes.
I can talk to him all day.
Oh, I know.
Every day.
We just scratched the surface with
Yep.
Rick's stories. I really appreciate you coming in and
Thank you for
shedding
having
some of your
me.
wisdom with us.
It's an honor.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
It is.
And we're gonna have some buzz balls there at Oak Mountain too. Let's do it.
Chalky
Cassie
milks,
will,
baby.
Cassie will be out there throwing them out.
Who don't love chalky milk and alcohol, brother?
Yeah. Put that in. You put that on your Cheerios. I mean, whatever. It's good for breakfast.
You order a 12-pack of these, it comes with a free diabetic sock.
Sock.
Just one. You got to order a 24-pack to get the pair.
Rick
Man,
Carter.
it's been great, man. Rick Carter.
Thanks.
Cam Flener.
Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Do us a favor. Seriously, take one of your favorite episodes that you've watched and share it with a friend and try and get them on board to watch it.
Do this in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. Comment section. Give us your best, your favorite Telluride song. That's what I want to know.
Ooh.
I like
It's
that.
standalone,
great
by the way.
idea.
It's standalone. That sax solo.
Maybe we need to have commemorative shirts made for the July 8th show.
Have
Just
y'all
a-
ever played a bill together?
No, this is our first time.
Is it really?
Yes, we've never played together. We've done back to back. Like
Sure.
when the Supper Club closed down, we did that. We did that weekend.
We've done rolling hay and Pygmies.
Yes, but we've
Yeah.
never done
Not
Telluride.
Telluride.
No, we've never done this bill. ever.
Incredible.
So this is a historic moment.
Incredible, man.
Telluride and Veluride.
Yeah. Well, y'all make sure you tune in next week. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see y'all.
Peace out.
You get away with love.